It began exactly as every other morning. Still drowsy, following a sleepless night, I stretched and massaged my eyes while the sun hardly peeked through the shutters and the clock ticked over to 7 a.m. Mia had always been the early riser. Usually waking up to discover her already awake, I made coffee or got dressed for the day. Today was different, though. I reached across her side of the bed expecting to feel the warmth of her body, but instead it was frigid. Confused, I once more massaged my eyes. Perhaps she was in the kitchen just now. She might have gone for a run, like she did in the mornings. Before our hectic days began, Mia often slipped out early to have some alone time. Something felt strange, though. I checked the time. 7:30 a.m. now. "Morning, darling," I texted her quickly. "Where do you live?" Then went to clean my teeth. 10 minutes later, there was still no response, even though I had thought she would answer when she had the time. That was unusual. Though Mia was busy, she generally responded in minutes. By 8 a.m., I started to feel a little uncomfortable. I picked her up on the phone. She ignored it, although it resonated through. "Hey, just checking in another book. You good?" I thought she might simply be caught up with something, but the silence was beginning to get to me. No answer. I was pacing the flat by 9 a.m., my worry mounting. Mia wasn't responding to my texts and not picking up her phone. I wasn't sure if I should get furious or scared. I checked the bathroom one more time. Nothing. Thought maybe she had crashed there after a late-night work session. I looked at the couch in the living room, but it was empty. At 9:30 a.m., I contacted her once more. Still without a response. The impression that something was off persisted in me. Mia was not the sort to vanish silently. We had 3 years of experience together. We had our ups and downs, sure, but we always communicated. At least that's what I believed. Something clearly was wrong. I texted her sister Lucy. "Hey, do you know where Mia is? She is not picking up her phone or responding to me. I am starting to get nervous right now. I can't sit about waiting for her to return or pick up the phone. I have to find out what is going on." I rang Emma, her best friend. Perhaps she had heard from Mia? "Hi, Emma, it's Jake. Has Mia gotten back to you?" There was a pause on the other end before Emma spoke. She is not picking up her phone, and I am kind of freaking out. "Wait, what? No, I have not. That's extremely strange. Are you sure she isn't merely at the gym or someplace else? I have searched everywhere. Nobody has heard from her. She is not responding." Emma's tone changed, and I started to get really concerned. "All right, don't start to get anxious. I will try phoning her as well, although I know she is simply frantic. Perhaps she is with her mother or something. Indeed, I want you to be right." I hung up, but I still felt this knot in my gut tightening. "I'll let you know." Mia seemed to be deliberately avoiding me. Nevertheless, why? Had anything happened? I had to work this out. I checked my phone, paced the flat, and texted her more often over the following few hours. "Are you okay? Where are you?" Still no response. It wasn't like Mia to do this. "I'm extremely scared. Just text me back. Not after 3 years. She was not the kind to ghost me." We had always been straightforward about everything. Why, therefore, was she now performing this stunt? Looking for some hint as to where she could be, I looked at her social media sites. On Facebook and on Twitter, nothing. Expecting the typical mix of pictures from our weekend excursions or candid selfies, I scrolled through her Instagram page and found nothing new. Then I saw it. Her most recent post. An update just 1 hour ago. Mia is pictured here grinning, sunglasses on, seated in a cafe in Spain. Spain? My heart stopped there. What the bloody hell was happening? For what felt like an age, I fixated on the picture, the terrible sense of betrayal slinking over me. Mia found herself in Spain, without notifying me, without even a word. I wasn't sure whether to laugh or cry. This wasn't occurring. Surely a mistake had to exist here. Perhaps this was an old post she uploaded inadvertently. I repeated refreshing the page a couple more times, but no, the post was current. She was there right now. I opened the message app fast, my hands shaking as I typed, "Mia, where the heck are you? I recently came onto this post. Whose behavior is this?" I wasn't expecting a response straight away. She had previously, after all, turned aside my calls and SMS. This, though, was different. This fresh material eluded me in terms of processing. She was on the opposite side of the globe and had not informed me of anything. Then, 1 hour later, I received a message from her. It was text rather than a call. Jake, I need some time to clear my brain. I'm with some buddies in Spain. Though I wanted to avoid stressing you, I had to travel. Please don't get enraged. I went over the message several times, my thoughts whirling to grasp what was happening. Time to let her head clear? Not even able to tell me? Having gone through all we have? I knew nothing about what to feel. Hurt, furious, bewildered. All of it. I said, my words more exact than I had meant. You couldn't even tell me? You simply vanished and headed for Spain? What the devil are you doing, Mia? Her response arrived shortly later. Jake, I didn't mean to offend you. All I needed was a break. It is not regarding you. Please do not make this more difficult than necessary. Make it easier. I was the one making things more difficult. The woman I had intended to marry had vanished without a word on an overseas trip. I was unable to do this. Not like this. I typed a last note in a split second. The wedding is off if this is how you are managing things. I'm finished. Not bother returning. I pushed send and stared at the computer, my mind whirling. What had just occurred? Kind of relationship had I been in? Though I had no idea what Mia was doing in Spain or what was going through her thoughts, one thing was clear. Things would never be the same. The remainder of the day melted together. I couldn't bring myself to spend hours staring at my phone once I sent Mia that last text. I felt as though I was inhabiting the life of another. 3 years with her had been spent crafting a future, organizing every action. Everything we had discussed suddenly appeared to fit another version of myself. Although I couldn't handle it all at once, the weight of it was intolerable. I paced the apartment aimlessly gathering objects and setting them down once more, as if I were trying to persuade myself that I still had control. None felt real, though. The place seemed to be too quiet, too vacant. The silence was not being filled by the background music she favored. Her perfumed scent was no longer hanging about in the air, just me now, and I had no idea how to handle this. Eventually, I walked to the kitchen and filled a glass with whiskey. Though it was still early in the afternoon, it seemed inconsequential. I wanted something, anything, to help me to ease my chest discomfort. Every time I considered her message, the knot in my stomach tightened. I simply needed a break. What type of break entails silently disappearing half around the globe? Trying to wash away the questions eating at me, I drank slowly. Is there another person? She felt imprisoned, right? Was she lying? I understood less the more I considered it. Our future together had been under preparation. We had discussed getting married. Hell, we had even chosen rings. Moving in. This was not just a casual romance. Around 5 p.m., I at last could not stand it. I grabbed my phone and went through the texts once more, rereading everything from her first to her last. The words felt alien, as though they belonged to someone I knew nothing about. When I tried to call her once more, it went right to voicemail. Mia seemed to be consciously excluding me. Not knowing whether I should be angry or relieved, I decided on both. It still amazed me how quickly everything had fallen apart. Things had been regular a few days earlier. We had battled about the ordinary things. Who neglected to take out the garbage, what time we should leave for supper. Dumb little things that made no difference. She was in Spain now, and I was left alone staring at the mess Emma had left behind. I considered phoning Emma once more, but I was not sure what I would even say. I wanted not to come across as though I was making everything about me. Still, I yearned to know whether anyone else understood what was happening. I had to figure out whether Mia was speaking the truth about needing a break, or whether there was more to the narrative. I opted to mail Lucy instead. Lucy, do you know where Mia is? Mia's sister always had a way of being honest with me, even if the reality was hard to hear. She left Spain without saying anything to me. She just dropped off the map. I wasn't expecting a response right away, but Lucy's came sooner than I thought. Her in Spain? Unknown to me was she left me out of mention of it. To be honest, though, Mia has been acting strange for some time. She has been detached lately. I'm not sure if you have noticed. I hadn't given any mind to several changes I had observed. Mia had always been a rather introverted person, someone who needed time to recover. Nevertheless, this felt unique. "What do you mean by far apart?" I answered Lucy's message swiftly. She has been withdrawing, not much engaged in conversation about anything, not drawing in the same manner she used. Feeling as if the air had been sucked out of the room, I slumped back in my chair, wondering what she could be battling with. For some time, something had been off. I had not seen it. I considered myself to know Mia. I felt I knew her better than everybody else. Now, though, I felt as though I hardly knew her at all. My thoughts kept whirling one after another. Had she started preparing this trip some time ago? Alternatively, was it a decision taken on demand? While I was immersed in my own world at work, did she meet someone else? The ambiguity was stifling. Then I recalled something. Mia had asked me to assist her with an office project the day before she left. It had been a last-minute affair, and I had been annoyed since I felt she could have done it on her own. It had only seemed at the time as a little annoyance. Right now, though, I couldn't let go. She had been starting something in motion, getting ready for this without me even noticing. I had questions and sought responses. But how could I obtain them when Mia was not speaking? When she was halfway around the globe, how could I confront her? I set down my phone and paced once more. Only so much I could consume. This was unlike me, who had never been the kind of person to let things fester without confronting them. The rug seemed to have been ripped from under my feet. I had trusted her with everything, and here I was, standing in the wreckage of what I thought was our life together. By 8 p.m., I was still seated in the same spot, staring blankly at my phone screen, when it buzzed once more. "Jake, I know you're upset," Mia said. I had no intention of it being like this. Still, I have to do this for me. I am in need of room, though I hope you can forgive me finally. Right now I do not expect you to understand. Kindly avoid trying to reach me. When I get ready, I will get in touch. I read the message twice, then, annoyed and powerless, toss my phone on the couch. Territory? She was saying she needed time after vanishes for whom we know nothing. Inside me I felt something crack, though the more I considered it, the more I realized I wasn't sure I wanted it. Mia had been my everything, my friend, my lover. I wasn't sure whether I could keep waiting for her to return and clarify herself. She was obviously in charge of things, but it didn't mean I had to watch helplessly. That evening's sleep proved difficult. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, the grin she sent me when everything seemed to be fitting into line. What happened to the woman I knew? It kept me wondering. Another day tomorrow, and I had no idea what that would bring. I knew, though, I could not continue to live in this limbo. Should Mia refuse to communicate with me, I would have to begin traveling ahead without her, whatever that implied. Could I accomplish it? Could I shed all we had created together? Alternatively, would I continue to wait, hoping for her to return and right everything? Right now, I had no answer. I was, however, aware of running out of time. The days began to seem to be one endless haze. I couldn't recall when I had previously eaten sensibly or slept for more than a few hours. I spent hours in front of my computer, staring at the blank screen, trying to concentrate on work. Every time I closed my eyes, the world felt like it was spinning. Mia's face, her voice, those words she left me with. I need space. I tried to remind myself that she was doing what she felt was right for her, but it didn't make the pain any easier to bear. But my head was elsewhere, returning again to her. I found it impossible to focus. Every small detail around me, the hum of the refrigerator, the buzz of my phone, felt like a reminder of the emptiness that had settled in the space she left behind. I had tried phoning her once more, twice, really. Both calls, though, went directly to voicemails. I told myself I was silly. She needed time, but something inside me told me I couldn't just sit here and wait indefinitely. I needed closure. I had already tried to get in touch with Lucy, but she hadn't answered in a few days. Although I understood she was preoccupied with her own life, part of me worried if she was suppressing something. Her response to my last message, so evasive, so disconnected, made me wonder whether she knew more than she was disclosing. The idea bit me, and I couldn't get rid of the impression that Mia wasn't being really honest. But where did that leave me? Mia was not compelled to converse with me. She refused to provide the responses I so sorely needed. I went to her apartment, the only action I could think of. The weight of the choice struck me as soon as I entered the lobby of the building. Suppose I came here and was mistaken. What if she truly only needed space? But I experienced an unusual mix of anxiety and resolve as the elevator doors closed behind me. The not knowing had worn me thin. I reached her door and banged, more aggressively than I intended to, tired of feeling as though my life was caught in some sort of bizarre pause button waiting for her to return and tell me it would all be fine. The sound rang down the hall. None at all. I knocked once more gently now, but still no answer. Just in case, I tested the door handle. It was locked. For a time I remained there staring at the door. No matter how hard I tried, it seemed like a barrier I couldn't cross. I pulled out my phone and texted Mia again. "I'm at your apartment." I felt a wave of frustration, like I was banging against an invisible wall Mia had created, brick by brick, until it was too high to climb. "We have to discuss." Then I waited on the floor in the corridor while the minutes seemed to last like hours. My mind flew. Was this even the moral thing to do? Suppose Mia was going through something she wasn't ready to disclose. Was I then pushing her into a confrontation she wanted no more? My heart missed a beat as my phone buzzed. It was Mia. "Jake, kindly stop. I have to work things out alone. You are not needed here." I read the message over and over, as if expecting I would have missed something the first time. "I will call when ready." The language did not change, though. She objected to me being here. She wanted not to communicate. I experienced an odd mix of grief and resentment. How had things arrived at this? From planning a future together to this frigid far quiet, how had we changed? What had changed in her to drive her to wish to exclude me in this way? The weight of the question felt to me as if it were heavier than anything I had ever experienced. I had to let her come to me, if she ever did, even if, as much as I wanted to break into that apartment and demand answers, it wouldn't accomplish anything. That evening, I went home and did something I hadn't done in a long time. I went through our old photos. Knowing that the recollections would be agonizing, I had avoided it for days. I looked at the images from our trip to New York, the ones where we had laughed until our stomachs hurt, the ones where she lay her head on my shoulder as we watched the sunset. I was looking for anything, anywhere, that may explain where we had gone wrong. I turned over images of us at the beach, of her with her friends, of us making dinner together. It seems like a lifetime ago before I saw it. A picture taken at a friend's wedding some months ago. Mia was grinning at me, her eyes full of warmth, among those honest photos. But as I examined closer, I found it. She thought there was something absent previously. For the first time in days, I got up from the couch and started pacing the room. Something ephemeral, something I had missed at the time but now stood out clearly in the silence. I had no idea what to make of it. Uncertainty was chewing at me. And what had happened to us? To her? I remembered the small things I had observed, the late evenings at work, the silence in her voice, the way she had begun spending more time on her phone. Was this all the build-up for her needing space? Alternatively, was another possibility under play? Though I had no idea what the correct response was, I knew I couldn't stay waiting in this fog. I had to move ahead, even if it meant letting her go. Though I still wasn't ready to give up on us, I had to accept the reality she might never return. Sitting at my workstation, I stared at the note she had emailed me earlier. I had told myself I would give her the time and room she required. Still, I couldn't stop considering the one item in her message that most jumped out: "I'll call when I'm ready." Was this really merely about time? Alternatively, was there something more I was overlooking? Though I knew right now all I could do was wait, it was difficult to embrace. I also had to figure out piecemeal how to reconstruct my life in the interim. Days went by, and the quiet between Mia and me extended farther than I had ever imagined. I first felt okay about allowing her the required distance. I reminded myself that this was simply something we had to go through. Ultimately, it would all make sense. But the uncertainty sapped me as the days grew into weeks. Not knowing bothered me more than simply the silence. I wasn't sure if I was acting morally, if she would get in touch once more, or if I was just waiting for something that might never materialize. I kept myself occupied with work, but even that felt different. Her calls, texts, and tiny notes of encouragement, all of which Mia provides, made the work less meaningful without them. It seemed only like a diversion. Hoping it would relieve the pain in my chest, I had done my best to sink myself into the daily grind, but it did not. Every time my phone buzzed, I would check it, looking for her name. I would get a twinge in my heart every time I watched a couple smiling and holding hands. The yearning for something that used to be there but was now vanishing. One of those mornings when I found myself fixated on the clock more than anything else. My mind drifted back to Mia, and I received an unplanned message. It came from Lucy. "Jake, I should have been reaching out. Can we speak?" In weeks I had not heard from her, not since that evening we discussed Mia. Consumed by my own ideas, I had virtually forgotten about her. But as I saw her name now, something inside me started to move. Perhaps this was the break I had been waiting for, a chance to at last grasp what Mia had been actually experiencing. Was Lucy aware of anything I lacked, or was she merely attempting to be helpful? I answered fast on a typewriter. "Of course, indeed. When might we be able to talk?" She answered just about right away. "I will give you a call in a few minutes. It is crucial." Sitting up upright, I was rather taken aback by her intensity. It brought both optimism and fear to clench my gut. Was the talk I had been waiting for about to start? The one likely to provide clarity? A few minutes later, my phone rang. I grabbed it with no thought. Lucy's voice was calm, but there was something strange about it, a seriousness I had not heard from her before. "I think you should hear this, but I'm not sure how to tell you." Though I felt a lump in my throat, I said nothing until she could clarify. Her voice steady, she said, "It's about Mia. I know she has been going through a lot lately. I'm not sure of all the specifics. She has not been her own self. To be honest, I doubt she wants to discuss it with you right now." I felt my heart drop. I realized it. I knew something deeper than what she had told me had been going on. Though I attempted to keep my voice cool, the desperation crept through. "What do you imply? Why won't she come to see me?" My words came out more like a plea than a question when I asked. Lucy muttered, "She is handling some personal matters, Jake. I'm not familiar with all the specifics, but it goes beyond simply you as well. That is something you have to realize. Mia has been carrying a lot on her own. I believe she is just trying to sort things out. She currently needs space more than you can provide, though." The pressure in my chest was getting more pronounced. She couldn't share this with me. What could possibly be so huge? When all I wanted was to be there for her, why had she entirely excluded me and advised me to keep away? I battled to keep my voice steady by swallowing hard. My words caught in my mouth as I continued. "I don't get it, Lucy. If it's not about me, then why hasn't she simply told me that? Why must she shove me away?" Lucy stopped, then said gently, as though selecting her words deliberately, "Jake, occasionally people have to go through things on their own. She is terrified, and she does not want to bring you into that. You want to help, but I believe you have to respect her current position. Though I know it's difficult, sometimes loving someone involves backtracking and allowing them to discover their own way, even though it implies you won't be absent for some time." I enabled her observations to sink in. Being there for the people I loved, on being the kind of person who could listen, who could mend things, that has always made me proud. Now, though, it seemed like the best thing I could do was nothing. Merely wait. If that was what Mia needed, wait for her to return. What then ought I to do? I asked, the helplessness creeping into my voice. "Give her time, Jake. Don't push. When she gets ready, let her approach you. She will get in touch, I guarantee. Just let her sort things out and relax sometime. Though right now it doesn't make sense to you, you have to believe she knows what she is doing." I ran my hand through my hair and breathed sharply. Her remark seemed weightier than anything I had heard in several weeks. "Okay," I answered, not really feeling well. "I will provide her some space. But should she never return? What would happen if she simply left?" Lucy's voice softened, as though she could hear the suffering underneath my words. "Jake, Occasionally, people have to go through personal turmoil before they can return. And she will return if Mia is supposed to be in your life. Don't start to lose hope in it. I wasn't sure whether I believed her. Losing Mia seemed like losing a piece of myself, and I wasn't sure how I would hang on to the bits without her. But Lucy made sense with her statements. Even if it split me inside, if I really loved Mia, I had to honor her choice. Thanks, Lucy, I whispered softly. I value you bringing this up for me, Dot. She said, You're welcome. Just look after yourself, all right? Remember yourself, not lost in this. I hung up the phone and leaned back, letting her words reverberate in my thoughts. I knew Lucy was correct. I had to allow Mia the space she required. That did not, however, make bearing any more easy. That evening, I found myself unable to relax. The quiet in the apartment was oppressive, and I couldn't get rid of the idea that I was gradually losing her. When the world seemed too weighty, I wanted to be the person she looked to, the one she could hold. Maybe, though, just now I had to let her sort things out on her own. Learning this was a challenging course of instruction, and as the days stretched into weeks, I started to worry whether Mia would return or if this marked the end of our tale. Following that chat with Lucy, the days passed slowly. Time seemed to fade into itself, and my chest hurt nonstop. I couldn't get away from this. Like Lucy, I gave Mia the space she required. I moved back, reminded myself I would be patient, but within I was disintegrating. Every time I checked my phone, I prayed for a note from her. Just one phrase, one indicator she was considering me, but nothing showed up. She seemed to have vanished entirely, leaving just quiet behind her. Many evenings I stayed up, staring at the ceiling and contemplating her. I considered our initial meeting and how simple it was to chat with her, how at ease we were together. I thought about her giggle, how she would curl up on the couch with a book, and how her eyes would flash when she was fervent about something, though most of all I missed the link we shared, the sensation that we had each other's backs. Everything about her. Still living in the same city, though. It felt as though we were miles apart now. I began doubting everything. What went missing? Where did things begin to slide? Was it anything I did? Was it only a case of unfortunate timing? Or was there more involved? I kept wondering these questions, and each time the responses seemed more elusive. Like Lucy advised, I had stayed away, but I couldn't keep acting as if everything was good. I could not simply wait without knowledge. I could only take so much until I had to know whether this was the end or whether we still had time. Late one night, I at last determined I could not wait anymore. Half waiting, half hoping, not able to sit here knowing our position. I thus started to make decisions. I would follow up with Mia. Not with an SMS, not with some casual message either. I was going to forward her all I was feeling. Nor games, nor dodging around the margins. I had to tell her what was on my mind. Maybe, just maybe, it would assist me to know where we stood. My fingertips hanging over the computer. I typed the note slowly. Before I sent it, it was as though an eternity. Mia, I have been allowing you the space you requested. Although I have no idea where you are or what you are going through, I cannot just sit here acting as though I have no interest. I lost you. I'm missing us. Though I'm not sure whether I should remain patient or whether I should go on, I have to know. I should know whether this is it. I will respect your need for more time, but I can't keep wondering what is going on. Kindly let me know. Simply said, I want the truth. I transmitted it, and I felt bad about it right away. If it were too much, what then? What if I came across as really needy and desperate? As I watched the screen waiting for her reply, my heart flew, yet the minutes stretched into hours. Neither could I sleep nor could I think of anything else. Though my phone was fixed to my hand, nothing showed up. The anxiety grew inside me. The more I waited, the more I felt like an idiot for exposing myself like that. But then the screen turned on as I was ready to lay the phone down in defeat. A letter. From Mia was the source. I inhaled deeply and opened it, hands shaking as I turned over her words. Jake, I'm apologizing. I never wanted to treat you badly. I was not sure how to communicate how much I had been juggling to you. Though I needed time to sort things out, I have come to see that I have been excluding you in an unfair manner. You are deserving of much above that. I want to be honest with you, even though I cannot guarantee everything will return to how it was. I still love you and am here. I simply find myself attempting to find my path. I inhaled something I never noticed I was breathing. That's where it was. The actuality, the clarity I had been yearning for. Though it wasn't easy or straightforward, at least I knew she wasn't excluding me for permanent absence. She had been suffering in her own manner, not fleeing me. I started typing back straight away. I don't need things to return to the way they were, Mia. I just need you to be straight with me. I only want the truth. Nothing else is asked for. I am right here for you. No matter what transpires, I will always be Dot. The reply arrived promptly. Thank you for your understanding. Although I'm ready to attempt it, I do not anticipate things returning to normal overnight. I apologize for giving you the impression that I didn't value you. I couldn't believe it. We were at last conversing once all that waiting and anxiety had passed. It wasn't simple, and I knew it would take time, but for the first time in weeks I felt like there was a forward path. Perhaps not ideal, but rather a real one. Though at least we were chatting once again, I did not expect things to be corrected quickly. At least we were trying to understand one another and shared the same ground. And that, I discovered, was plenty. The next several weeks moved slowly. We were both trying. There were still times of doubt when I wondered whether we could make it work. Though imperfect, we both recognized we had something worth battling for. It was not a quick remedy and not easy. But as I sat there messaging Mia and heard her voice on the other side of the line, I came to see that sometimes the toughest thing is not losing someone you love. It is awaiting their return to you when they are ready. And occasionally that wait is well worth every second.